Stop scrolling. Stop listening to the noise around you for just a moment and think, how much of your life is really yours? How often do you feel controlled by the world, by people, by situations that shouldn't matter, but somehow do? If you've ever felt your energy drained by someone else's words, if you've ever snapped at a comment you later regretted, if you've ever lost hours replaying a fight in your head, this video is about to change everything you thought you knew about control, power, and freedom. Most people go through life reacting to everything, the insults, the provocations, the drama, and they don't even notice. They think being emotional is normal. They think reacting proves they care. But here's the truth. Nobody tells you. Every reaction you give is a piece of your life that you hand over to someone else. Every flare of anger, every defensive word, every moment of frustration is someone else taking control of your mind, your energy, and your peace. And here's the part that will shock you. Freedom, clarity, and influence are not built in reacting. They are built in the pause. There's a single moment, a single choice, where everything changes. It's the moment you stop being a puppet and start being the master. It's the moment you turn your emotions into tools instead of letting them destroy you. It's the moment that separates the people who struggle every day from the people who quietly, deliberately, and unshakably command their lives. If you stay until the end of this video, you will learn the hidden rules the world doesn't want you to know, the exact steps to reclaim your energy, and the mindset that will make you untouchable. By the time you finish watching, nothing will feel the same again. Your control, your calm, and your power are waiting, but only if you choose to take them. Let's start with something most people don't want to admit. Every time you react, you give someone else control over your mind. Think about it. How often do you let a comment, a glance, a text, or even a thought trigger an emotional explosion inside you? How often do you replay a conversation from yesterday and feel your stomach tighten, your chest constrict, your heartbeat faster, all because someone else's actions touched you? That's not life. That's a subtle form of slavery, and most people are blind to it. Reactivity is like handing the keys to your mind to someone else, and then being surprised when they drive your life in the wrong direction. Every insult, every provocation, every minor inconvenience you react to becomes a chain around your own freedom. You may think that reacting proves that you care, that you're passionate, or that you're alive, but in reality, it only proves that someone else can move you, manipulate you, or steal your energy at will. The world is full of people who test you, challenge you, or outright try to provoke you. Some do it consciously, some unconsciously, but the result is the same. If you react, you are no longer the architect of your own life. You are the instrument of someone else's agenda. And worse, you're feeding the very chaos you claim to resist. People love to see others react. It's a mirror for their own powerlessness. When you react, they see your buttons. They see your weaknesses. They see exactly where to push, exactly where to hurt, exactly where to control. Think about it philosophically. Every reaction is a surrender of choice. You may not realize it, but choice is the essence of human power. Freedom is not simply moving your body or saying what you want. It's choosing where your mind, your energy, and your focus go. Reactivity eliminates choice. It substitutes impulse for intention. It replaces deliberate action with automatic response. And that, my friends, is the opposite of mastery. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore your emotions. Emotions are information. They are signals, not commands. Anger, fear, disappointment, jealousy, they tell you what you care about, what your values are, where your boundaries may be. But emotion without control is like fire without containment. It will consume everything around it, including yourself. When you react emotionally, you let instinct run the show instead of intellect. You let ego dictate decisions instead of wisdom. You let the external world determine your internal state instead of commanding it. Here's the subtle part that shocks most people. The more reactive you are, the more predictable you become. Predictability is weakness in human behavior. People who can predict how you will respond know your patterns, your triggers, and your vulnerabilities. When you react to a slight, an insult, or even a misunderstanding, you are teaching the world exactly how to manipulate you, exactly how to control you. And they will. They may not even mean to some people operate unconsciously, but control happen nonetheless because you allowed it to happen. Contrast this with someone who refuses to react, someone who pauses, observes, and chooses their responses deliberately. That person becomes unreadable. That person is difficult to manipulate. That person does not give others the satisfaction of influencing their emotional state. That person conserves energy, focuses on what truly matters, and gains an invisible but undeniable power in the process. The calm presence alone becomes magnetic. People notice it. People respect it. People hesitate before testing it. And in that hesitation lies influence. Reactivity also traps you in cycles of stress, regret, and distraction. Consider the arguments, the fights, the misunderstandings, and the online battles you've seen or been part of. How often do they end with someone gaining clarity, solving a problem, or improving the world? Almost never. Yet reactive people invest energy, emotion, and attention in these battles as if they were meaningful. In truth, they are meaningless because the only person affected by your reaction is you. Reacting amplifies the problem internally and externally. It's like trying to push water upstream. It requires enormous effort for no forward movement. This is why powerful individuals and thinkers emphasize observation over reaction. When you observe, you notice patterns, you understand motives, you see the temporary nature of insults, criticism, or chaos. Observation allows you to separate the signal from the noise, the meaningful from the trivial. And once you distinguish between the two, you can decide how to allocate your energy in ways that create growth, not regret. You regain the power that reactivity would have stolen. The truth is uncomfortable but simple. Life will always test you. People will always provoke you. Circumstances will always challenge you. External events will always push your buttons. The difference between those who are enslaved by life and those who master it is not the absence of these challenges, it is how they respond. Masters of life do not surrender their power with every emotional impulse. They engage selectively. They protect their mental and emotional territory. They choose battles that matter and ignore battles that do not. Let me leave you with this to reflect on. Every reaction is a choice to lose a piece of yourself. Every pause, every controlled breath, every deliberate response is a choice to reclaim it. The power you seek, clarity, peace, influence, freedom, does not come from fighting every insult, defending every opinion, or responding to every challenge. It comes from the mastery of self, from the refusal to hand your keys to someone else, from the courage to be calm when the world demands noise. You are not meant to be a puppet of circumstances. You are meant to be the pilot of your life, the architect of your mind, the guardian of your energy. Stop reacting and you stop being controlled. Stop reacting and you stop being predictable. Stop reacting and you reclaim the power that has been stolen from you without you even realizing it. So today, begin the practice of observation, restraint, and intentionality. Notice your triggers. Notice when your impulses rise. And instead of surrendering to them, pause, breathe, and choose. Not because it's easy, but because it is the path to true power. Reactivity is the cost of giving away your life. Calm, controlled observation is the price of freedom. Remember this, the world reacts, leaders respond. Your power begins the moment you choose to respond, not react. That is where mastery starts. That is where freedom begins. That is where the life you want becomes possible. Let's talk about something most people overlook in their daily lives, yet it's the single most powerful tool available to anyone who wants to live with clarity, influence, and purpose. It's simple, invisible, and free, but it's almost never used. The pause. Most people move through life as if every stimulus demands an immediate response. A message pops up, and they reply instantly. Someone says something offensive, and they fire back without thought. A challenge arises, and they react with anger, defensiveness, or fear. This automatic response feels natural because it is our biology is wired to react, not reflect. But natural is not always powerful. Natural is not always wise. Natural keeps most people trapped in cycles of regret, exhaustion, and lost energy. The pause is different. The pause is not weakness. The pause is not avoidance. The pause is power. The pause is the difference between being a slave to impulse and being a master of choice. When you insert even a few seconds between feeling and action, you create a space where clarity can emerge. That space allows you to decide not just how you act, but who you want to be in that moment. It's in the pause that the reactive mind is replaced by the intentional mind. Think about it. Every time you pause, you reclaim control over your internal state. That is critical because your internal state determines your reality far more than external events. The way the world feels to you is dictated less by what happens and more by how you respond. And when you pause, you prevent the external world from hijacking your mind. You prevent chaos from dictating your decisions. You prevent others from stealing your energy. The pause also creates perspective. When someone insults you, the instinct is to fire back immediately. But pause for just a moment and you can ask yourself, does this matter? Does responding serve me or distract me? Most of the time, the answer is obvious. Most of the time, the fight is unnecessary. Most of the time, by reacting immediately, you are investing energy in something that doesn't advance your life. The pause allows you to separate signal from noise, to distinguish meaningful conflicts from trivial distractions. Philosophically, the pause represents a separation between instinct and intention. Instinct is automatic. It is survival-based. Intention is deliberate. It is future-oriented. Instinct reacts. Intention responds. Instinct seeks immediate satisfaction or relief. Intention considers long-term consequences. By pausing, you shift from instinct to intention. You shift from being led by impulses to being guided by purpose. And purpose is the foundation of power. Let's consider the practical implications. When someone tries to provoke you, when they say something meant to anger or unsettle, most people react instantly. Their faces flush, their hearts race, and they speak words they later regret. That reaction feeds the instigator. They have succeeded because they have pushed your buttons. But if you pause, even for a few seconds, you interrupt the cycle. You observe instead of responding. You feel the emotion, but you do not act on it. You gain a moment to assess, to decide, to choose a response that serves your goal rather than your ego. This is the paradox of power. It is invisible, and yet it is felt by everyone around you. People who master the pause are often underestimated at first. They may appear calm, quiet, or even detached. But that calmness is magnetic. It commands respect. It disarms aggression. It makes others hesitate because they do not know how to provoke you or predict your next move. The pause is a shield, and at the same time, it is a weapon of subtle influence. The pause also protects your mental energy. Emotional reactions are draining. Every time you react, you expend energy that could have been used to create, to focus, to grow. The pause conserves that energy. It allows you to channel it into productive action rather than meaningless conflict. It prevents exhaustion, stress, and regret. It allows you to remain centered even when the world is chaotic. And in today's fast-moving, hyper-connected society, that energy is the most valuable currency you have. There's another dimension to the pause that is often overlooked. It cultivates awareness. When you pause, you become conscious of your own patterns. You notice what triggers you. You notice how emotions rise and fall. You notice the subtle ways your mind reacts to external pressure. Awareness is the first step toward mastery because you cannot control what you cannot observe. The pause gives you that observation. It allows you to see the strings that pull at your thoughts and emotions, and it gives you the ability to cut them before they manipulate you. The pause is also a teacher of patience. Life rewards those who wait for clarity instead of rushing to reaction. Most people rush because they are uncomfortable with uncertainty. They need to feel in control immediately, so they react impulsively. But impulsive action is rarely strategic. The pause teaches you that real control comes from waiting, observing, and responding intentionally. It teaches you that strength is quiet. It teaches you that mastery often requires stillness. And here's the subtle brilliance of the pause. It does not suppress emotion. It transforms it. Anger, frustration, fear, they do not disappear in the pause. Instead, They are converted into insight, into strategy, into measured action. Emotions become tools rather than chains. Impulses become guides rather than masters. The pause allows you to harness the energy of your feelings without being consumed by them. Most people never practice this. They live in constant reaction. They give away their power with every instant response. Their days are dictated by notifications, comments, insults, and crises. Their minds are crowded, their decisions rushed, their lives chaotic. Those who pause, however, reclaim their time, their energy, and their focus. They act from intention, not instinct. They respond with clarity, not chaos. And in that space, they build a life that others cannot control or disrupt. Let me be very clear. Mastering the pause is not easy. It takes awareness, discipline, and practice. You will feel the urge to react. You will feel the discomfort of stillness. You will want to defend, to prove, to respond immediately. That is natural. That is the test. The difference between those who live under their impulses and those who master their lives is the willingness to pause, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it feels unnatural. So start today. Notice the moments that trigger you. Feel the urge to react. Then stop. Breathe. Pause. Observe. Decide. Ask yourself, what serves me here? What will move me forward? What will protect my energy? Most of the time, the best choice will be to respond intentionally or not respond at all. And in that choice lies your power. Remember this. Life does not demand that you react. Life demands that you decide. The pause is the space where that decision is made. It is where freedom is won. It is where your power begins. Do not let the world steal it. Do not let chaos dictate your life. Pause, observe, choose, and step into the life that only those who master themselves can ever truly experience. Now that we've talked about how reactivity steals your power and how the pause restores control, it's time to explore what comes next, the ultimate expression of mastery, self-control. This is where the journey from reaction to pause reaches its highest form. Because self-control is not just a discipline, it is the ultimate flex. It is the unspoken power that separates those who are easily influenced from those who are quietly unstoppable. Most people misunderstand self-control. They equate it with rigidity, suppression, or denial. They think it means being emotionless, robotic, or disconnected. That is not true. Self-control is not about shutting down your feelings. It's about channeling them. It's about harnessing the energy of your impulses without letting them hijack your life. It's about responding in a way that elevates you instead of depleting you. In other words, self-control is freedom, not restriction. Imagine this for a moment. You are in a conversation, and someone says something that would normally trigger you. Your instinct is to react, immediately defend yourself, prove your point, or attack back. But instead, you exercise self-control. You listen. You observe. You respond with calm, clarity, and intention. Nothing about this makes you weak. Everything about it makes you stronger. Because in that moment, you are not a puppet of circumstance. You are the architect of your behavior. You are the master of your energy. You are untouchable in a way that words or aggression cannot achieve. Self-control is also a form of strategic patience. Life will test you. People will provoke you. Circumstances will push against your boundaries. Most people respond impulsively. They react in anger, frustration, or fear. And in doing so, they exhaust themselves, alienate others, and give away their influence. But when you exercise self-control, you pause, you observe, and you respond with strategy. You choose your battles. You sell. ECT your words. You act from purpose rather than instinct. That is power. That is influence. That is the ultimate flex. Let's consider how self-control operates in everyday life. When you resist the urge to argue with someone who is wrong, you save energy, preserve relationships, and maintain your mental clarity. When you resist the impulse to chase validation from others, you build independence, confidence, and inner peace. When you resist the temptation to overreact to minor setbacks, you preserve focus and create momentum toward your goals. Self-control is not an abstract concept, it is practical. It shapes your results, your relationships, and your life. Philosophically, self-control is the bridge between who you are and who you aspire to be. It is the conscious alignment of your actions with your values, your priorities, and your long-term vision. Impulse responds to circumstance. Self-control responds to intention. Impulse seeks comfort in the short term. Self-control invests in the long term. Impulse is a reaction to chaos. Self-control is the calm that creates order. Those who master it are no longer victims of their environment. They become architects of their destiny. There's another layer to self-control that is often overlooked. It inspires respect without demand. People who are reactive may win arguments, but they lose influence. People who are loud or aggressive may get attention, but they lose respect. People who constantly defend themselves may feel justified, but they appear weak. Self-control, on the other hand, communicates strength without words. It communicates confidence without ego. It communicates power without aggression. And that type of power is magnetic. People are drawn to it. Others hesitate to challenge it. It becomes a quiet authority that cannot be bought, manipulated, or intimidated. Self-control also protects your energy in a world designed to drain it. Every reactive moment costs you mental, emotional, and physical energy. Every argument, every provocation, every impulsive decision chips away at your focus. Self-control conserves energy. It allows you to direct your resources toward what truly matters, your growth, your goals, and your life vision. When you are self-controlled, chaos cannot distract you, criticism cannot derail you, and drama cannot deplete you. You become centered. You become unshakable. You become untouchable. Here's a critical point. Self-control is learned through practice, not instinct. Most people assume that if you are calm, you were born that way. They believe that if you are disciplined, it is natural. The truth is, every moment of self-control is a decision, a choice, a small act of mastery. It is built one pause, one breath, one deliberate response at a time. And over time, these small acts accumulate into unbreakable strength, clarity, and influence. Consider the ripple effect of self-control. One calm response can diffuse conflict, redirect attention, and open doors that anger would have closed. One measured word can earn trust, create alliances, and inspire loyalty. One deliberate pause can prevent a lifetime of regret. The impact is not immediate, but it is profound. Self-control shapes perception, builds reputation, and positions you as someone whose life cannot be easily disrupted. That is why it is the ultimate flex. It costs nothing, yet it commands everything. Self-control also creates freedom from the opinions of others. When you are reactive, you are bound to how others act, how others speak, how others behave. Your emotional state becomes dependent on their choices, and that is a subtle form of slavery. Self-control breaks those chains. It allows you to remain centered, focused, and calm regardless of external circumstances. It gives you autonomy over your mind, independence from the chaos of others, and sovereignty over your life. There's nothing more liberating than that. Let's not ignore the inner peace that self-control brings. The reactive mind is constantly agitated. It relives insults, replays arguments, and magnifies slights. It is never at rest. The self-controlled mind, however, cultivates calm, clarity, and perspective. It does not suppress emotions, but it refuses to be driven by them. It does not deny impulses, but it chooses which ones serve its growth. And in that calm, centered state, life is no longer a battlefield. It becomes a canvas for your creation. The ultimate truth is this: power is not in reaction. Power is no T in aggression, volume, or control over others. True power is in mastery over yourself, and mastery over yourself is impossible without self-control. Reactivity will make you predictable, chaos will make you vulnerable, and impulsiveness will make you a slave to circumstance. Self-control, however, elevates you above the noise. It positions you as deliberate, focused, and unstoppable. It transforms energy into influence and emotion into strategy. It is the silent force that shapes your destiny. So here's the challenge. Start now. Notice your impulses, your reactions, your urges. Pause, breathe, reflect. Then act intentionally. Choose the response that serves your purpose, your growth, and your freedom. Do not give away your power to emotion, circumstance, or other people. Protect it, cultivate it, exercise it. Every moment you practice self-control, you build the ultimate advantage that cannot be stolen or diminished. Remember this: strength is not in aggression. Confidence is not in reaction. Influence is not in chaos. The ultimate flex is self-control. It is quiet. It is invisible. It is relentless. And those who master it do not just survive life, they shape it. They do not just exist, they command their destiny. They do not just react, they respond with power, clarity, and intention. The world reacts. You choose to control. That is where freedom begins. That is where power lives. That is the life only the self-controlled can truly know